My name's Rebecca, and with support from the Pulitzer Center, I will be reporting from Indian-controlled Kashmir in the coming months. Kashmir is a region that's been torn by a bloody conflict for the past 2 decades. Now, relative peace has returned, and tourists are coming back to the region. But the people here in Kashmir are facing another problem. This time, it's the destruction of their environment. Nowhere is that more prevalent than here in Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. This place was once called the Venice of the East because of the miles of canals that wrap through the city, and these once pristine lakes. But in the last 3 decades, these lakes have shrunk by over half of their original size, and many of these canals are now roads. Though tens of millions of dollars has been pumped to the Lakes and Waterways Development Authority to clean these lakes, the locals say little has been done. Boats behind me. These houseboats have been part of the history of Kashmir for over a century. Now there's a conflict between these houseboats and Lauda. Lauda says that these houseboats are responsible for a lot of the pollution on the lake, and that's true. All of the sewage from these houseboats in fact does go directly into these lakes, but it's really part of a much greater problem. The sewage of 1 million people goes directly into these lakes. Now, some scientists say that in the next 60 years, this lake will disappear completely. But other scientists say that if the sewage were to stop going into this lake, in 15 years' time, it could be restored. Now, to understand what's going on in this lake, you'd have to realize how grave the situation is. It was reported in 2004 that azolla, which is a tropical weed, is actually growing in the lake. Now imagine you're in Kashmir, a place that's very, very cold, but the water chemistry in the lake has changed so much that this tropical plant thrives here. As a result of this, many of the fish and a lot of the indigenous plant life in the lake has died. There's 20,000 people living on this lake. The government would say that they are the problem because they're encroaching on the lake. And to some degree, this is true, that 25% of the vegetables provided in the city are not grown on the mainland, but grown in floating gardens on the lake. So if the government relocates people as it plans to do, they're not only losing history, but they're also further perpetuating an already grave situation. So to combat this problem, a couple of things need to happen. The first thing is a sanitation system must be put into the city. And also, houseboat owners like this, though they may only be a small part of the problem, they need to contribute to the solution and have their own personal septic tanks. Now in Kashmir, many of the lakes have disappeared. The largest lake in India, Wular Lake, is in Kashmir, and it has also shrunk. And the locals tell me how lakes that were here 20 years ago are completely gone. So if this problem is not combated in the very near future, this lake and the way of life of thousands and thousands of people who live here will forever be changed. Moreover, Kashmir, a place that's known for its houseboats, that's known for these lakes, will be altered forever.
Rebecca Byerly for the Pulitzer Center, Srinagar, Kashmir.